Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, good morning, depending on when you're watching this, and welcome to yet another karting video. This time we are at Daytona, Milton Keynes for the final round of the SuperChamps. It's the only round of the SuperChamps I have done. Usually I commentate on the series, but it was Eid, I didn't want to work, so I thought, you know what, let me join the quick boys for a race. It is heats, so random grids. And as a result, for this first race, I'm starting in 4th. The second race, I start in 6th. So everyone kind of averages out to a 5th place. And to be honest, I just wanted to have some fun practice. I was 3rd quickest behind, well, the two in front of me, the championship leaders, Barry Morris on the right, James Brown on the left. But we are ready to get underway then for the first race of the day. And, well, I pretty much had timed my getaway to perfection as we make our way up towards turn 2, move over to the inside, go up the inside of Barry. We're on the outside for the right, so I back up because I realised that could end up pretty badly. Up the inside of Aidan Miller, we go into the left-hander. So started from 4th, we're into 3rd by, well, halfway through lap 1 after turn 4. Before anyone mentions it in the comments, yes, I know I got my camera angle wrong. I put this down to, this is one of the disadvantages of being tall. If I'm tall and I want the camera to catch my steering wheel, I miss half the track, but no, I should have had it a little bit higher. I'm catching way too much of my helmet, unfortunately, and yeah, I was very stupid, and I didn't check what it looked like after the first race, so it's like this for the entire video. It's one of the reasons why I've made this video shorter than it could have otherwise been, because I think it's a little bit frustrating, because I keep looking at the video, and I'm like trying to bring my head down so that I can like see higher up, but sadly, it doesn't quite work like that, does it? We're heading into turn 2, which is a very quick corner for those people who may or may not have been to Milton Keynes. You can actually take that corner flat. I think it's a little bit better with a tiny lift, just because you're a bit more stable on the car. You can do it either way, and it's quite hard to tell what is quicker because, hey, no telemetry. We get a very good run coming out of turn 5, and we're right on the back of Barry. We do this weird thing. Instead of tucking the head down, you kind of like shimmy your bum forward, and you drop down like that. We get a very good run, left with nowhere to go, so Barry ekes past us. Now, one thing I did know as I show the camera my crotch, one thing I did know is I think this car was a little bit lacking on bottom end, like not a lot, I think maybe a couple of tenths a lap, but I did notice it on the first lap when I came out of the national corner. I definitely noticed that. Now, we are heading on to lap 5. This is my fastest lap of the race here at Daytona Milton Keynes on the national layout, so I thought I'd give you guys a run through it. Completely flat through turn 1, very gentle on the steering. Into turn 2, just throw it in right over the curb and clip the curb through the right-hander. Pull the car back over to the right, onto the brakes, and try to straighten up that steering wheel as early as possible, using up all of the curb on corner exit to maximize your exit speed. Into turn 5 again, you kind of want to let the kart out. You can use that curb on the left. On this particular occasion, I didn't, so I think there might have been another tenth or half a tenth there. International corner, you just want to turn in really late, get on the power, and just carry all of the momentum all the way through the corner, and then you want to shimmy your bum forward, show your crotch to the camera, and then tuck your head down completely flat through this left-hander. Hold it tight as you jump onto the brakes into turn 10. And again, it's just about keeping up the minimum speed. Don't want to use the curb on exit because that will kill your car. Through this left-hander, we clip the apex, we use the concrete on the inside, we use the track on the exit, and job done. That final corner, you can take a few different lines. I think by the end of the day, I preferred taking a little bit of a wider line, but hey, that's just me. So that being said, I had so much consistency in like the first 7 laps. It was 56-1, 56-1, 56-1, 56-1, 56-1, 56-1. As you can see, another 56-1 this lap. So all of my laps were within half a tenth of each other, which was really cool. But after about lap 7, I started falling off the pace. You can see Barry has pulled about 1 to 2 seconds up the road. That being said, my first race against these guys, my second time actually racing at Milton Keynes in these karts, my 4th ever time racing at this circuit. So I do know the track relatively well. First time using this layout though, so I did have to learn the layout a bit. Just a decent race. I tried kind of changing things up a bit. That was not a good run through turn 5. And I think my main issue was just keeping up the minimum speed through a couple of the corners. I think I did improve that over the day. But overall, it was a good day of karting. And you guys are going to see how the second heat and the finals go. I'm not going to spoil anything just yet, but it does get spicy. There's a little bit of rain as well that's coming our way. And, you know, the other thing I learned is when I'm using the helmet camera, get the camera pointing a little bit higher up. But yeah, third place, first race, not terrible, not great. I thought I could have done better considering how well the opening few laps went, and you know, I just give Barry a little fist bump. It was a good race. James Brown took the win. They were fighting for the championship. There was only a couple of points separating them. This is our second heat of the day. We're starting from down in 6th place, and this was a very good opening lap. So I thought I'd take you guys through the first lap, as I usually always do with my videos. First laps are always very fun. We get a decent getaway, not right behind the 12, a little bit of bumping. We got James Brown alongside us as we go around the outside through the left-hander. Now we're just trying to pick our way through. We get a good run through the chicane, and I'm thinking, can I get to the inside? No, I'll just hold it around the outside of turn 4. Beautifully done. And now just wait to kind of pick our moment. Through turn 5 we go. I don't quite carry as much speed as I would like. You can kind of see on the exit. Yeah, I should have carried a lot more speed into the corner. But now heading into National, I see these guys battling. I think, this is going to be an opportunity for me. Nice late apex on the power, and we're able just to sail through just because we got on the power so much earlier. Now we're heading down into turn 9. Not turn 9 of this track, but we just call it turn 9. Jump on the brakes. I just look to get my late apex. He carries too much speed into the corner, and as a result, we fly past the corner exit. I give the little finger wag. Let's work together. Let's not battle. I want to catch up to first place, but that is 6th to first on the opening lap. And to be honest, it was just a very, very clean start. Only that mistake into turn 5 that I really made. And now you can see the rain had started to come down. Not a lot, but enough to make the track a bit damp and a bit slidey, particularly into turn 2. If you ever come to Milton Keynes and it is damp or wet, turn 2 is treacherous. A bit of understeer into turn 5 as well. But I have a look behind me. I see that I've got a bit of a gap there now. I'm just going to get my head down, try to catch up to Charlie Fenton, who's actually the current heavyweight champion, but hasn't been having the best of seasons, kind of chopped and changed between heavies and lights. But I've been catching up, and I wanted it to rain. I'm sorry guys, I know I'm saying blasphemy, but I actually wanted it to rain. Mainly because, yes, it's the SuperChamps, but I was just here to have fun, right? For me, it was a case of, hey, I get to go and I get to kart with loads of the people that I've commentated on. It's a fun one-off event for me. And yeah, I did want the rain. And you can see how much we've caught Charlie in these kind of greasy conditions, kind of battling with the wheel through turn 1, and we gain loads of time, even though it looked slow. Into 2, we get right up on the curb, and again, just closing in that little bit as we make our way into turn 4. And here, look, we take a nice wide line, we get on the power, and again, we don't really gain too much time. This is one of the reasons the races were really difficult, because it went from damp to dry, back to damp, back to dry. First race, completely dry, but this race was really weird because it just dried up within 30 seconds, and then it was completely wet again, and it was really weird. But I knew that I had a lot of pace, and I was just waiting, biding my time. I knew I felt very quick in these greasy conditions, so try to snap the steering wheel in, don't quite get it right, it's not wet enough for that, and then heading into this corner, I go for a wide line. Charlie has a spin, I give him a cheeky little wave, which I probably shouldn't have done, but in my head I was just like, wave, as we go through into the lead and take a nice wide line through the final corner. And at that point, we're just at the front. I think I've got this whole lap featured, so I thought I'd show you just how it feels in these kind of conditions. Never mind, we're skipping right forward to the final lap of the race, so we can have a run through what this track felt like at the end. I was pretty much driving it as if it was dry. There was just 1 or 2 corners where I was being a little bit cautious. Here into turn 2, on the brakes, could carry way more speed, but every lap you go in, you just don't know how wet it's going to be because it wasn't consistent. Through turn 4, again, just being a bit gentler on the brakes, gentler on the turn-in, making sure that the kart turns. Here into turn 5 as well, trying to get the back end out a little bit, just so I can get the power on, because otherwise you understeer in the wet. This I was taking, I think, pretty much dry. It was just a case of being a tiny bit cautious. And this was a 61.0. In reality, it's probably a 59 because I start having a little bit of weaving. I drift into this corner because I'm so far ahead of everyone. The race is actually already over. I was the only one not to get lapped by the faster karts in this race, so I was just having some fun. I mean, you You can see I'm weaving around. I'm not exactly pushing. If I was pushing in the final few corners, it'd be a 59 to 58. And then I do the worst celebration ever in my life, which was trying to like emulate the Marc Marquez swimming, even though it's barely raining. I'm a moron sometimes, and I thought that'd be a funny celebration. Also, I do have to say, big shout out Ian Riley for giving me a SD card, because I forgot my SD card at home. And if it wasn't for Ian Riley, I would not have been able to record this, so huge thanks to him. However, it's the finals. We're starting second. We had the same amount of points as James Brown, but James Brown's fastest lap was in that first heat, whereas my kind of good race was my second heat, which was in the wet. So he's got the fastest lap. We're starting from second. We're keeping an eye on when his foot went down onto the throttle. We don't get a good start. We get a little tap, which for a second I thought I was going into the wall, but we hold on to third place in the exit corner, and Barry Morris goes around the outside of James Brown through turn 3. So I say, hey, I'll go up his inside into turn 4. These two are battling for the championship, and I was kind of conscious of it, so I didn't want to, you know, ruin their championship. So, you know, if I've got to get past one, I kind of have to get past the other one as well, right? I can't sit in between them. So that was my motivation for this race, not to screw over their championship. As James Brown gets a good run out of turn 5, can't quite get alongside us, so we're still able to effectively take our racing line through the national corner and on to the back straight. You know what, maybe I just put my camera down just so that you guys can see my beautiful suit. Apex suits, by the way, really nice design, and it's quite comfy as well, and apparently water resistant. I didn't feel any water in this race, but it wasn't particularly, you know, it was barely even drizzling. It was just a few spots. Now watch this. We're going to go nice and wide through this corner. Look how much time we gain on Barry Morris as a result of taking the wet line through the final corner, whereas he took it tight. That's why I do like that wide line. Into turn 2 we go, still a little bit slippery, and just a case of trying to find where the grip is. And then into turn 4 again, Barry takes that inside line, I go wide. James thinks, hey, I can go up the inside, but as a result you lose all traction, and you don't get as good of a drive. I don't think I went particularly quick through that corner, and I think there was enough grip to take the dry line there, so probably not the right point to take the wet line. As we make our way back into International once again, I do need to name these circuits. I am technically the commentator, so maybe I get, you know, the ability to give names to these corners. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Anyway, heading into turn 9, we're gaining a lot on Barry, and again, this is where wet line comes into effect. Barry's taking a bit of a dry line and mid line. We go all the way wide, get on the power, get a way better run, and we are ahead heading into the final corner. We hold it, you know, nice and wide, practically using the pit entry line, and that's it. We are up to the front, and I stayed there for the rest of the race. Spoilers, I know, but there's not long left in this video. Through turn 2 we go, and again, it's just kind of fiddling with the steering wheel, just trying to find grip, making sure that we don't have any mistakes, and I take a bit of a tighter line, because essentially what I'm doing every time I go into turn 2, because that's always the worst part of the circuit, I'm feeling, okay, how bad is it in turn 2, and then using that to judge how I want to drive for the rest of the lap. So if turn 2 feels a little bit greasy, I drive the rest of the lap as if it's right. If turn 2 feels horrible, I'll drive it as if it's a bit damp in other places. National, that corner that we just went through, always feels like the driest part of the circuit. This left-hander always felt a little bit touchy on turn-in, but again, it was okay there, so I decided I'll just drive it normally. Take a little bit of a wider line just in case. And then into the final corner, I started taking this much wider line, and it was working. We kind of kept like a 2-second gap to the field behind for the majority of the race, and then with about 4 laps to go or something, I just checked out. I don't know if they were involved in some battles or something of the sort, but hey ho. So this is now us making our way onto the final lap of the race. We're not being overtaken, we are being lapped by the D-Maxes. Those are the 2-strokes. They are much faster than these 4-strokes. 2-strokes is what we usually race when we're in Club 100. Speaking of Club 100, I'm actually at BUKC this weekend. Well, I say this weekend, I'm recording this on Monday, so in the weekend coming up for me, we're at Clay Pigeon. I'm going to be doing some races in the Intermediate Championship to warm up for the warm up for the finals on Sunday, where I'll be racing in the grads. Hopefully I can make it to the super finals and get some more cool content for the GoPro to put up onto the channel. I'm going to try to start doing a few more spontaneous karting races. This summer is filled with karting for me, so I should be able to get loads and loads of videos out onto the channel, and hopefully a bit of fun. Might be doing some more sim racing as well, so there'll be some sim racing content to follow up. But yeah, this was my outing at Daytona Milton Keynes for the SuperChamps. First time out in the SuperChamps, winning the round. I think that's a pretty good W. Good circuit as well. Very technical, hard to learn. Although I say it's hard to learn, it's very narrow, difficult to overtake. Give Barry a little bit of a fist bump after this corner as well. So definitely do head out, try out the track. It is fun with these karts, or if you're feeling a bit more adventurous with the two strokes. But that's everything for this video. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, and assalamu alaikum.